probably watch the replay a lot. Truthfully, my audience is a little bit more men than it is women. So I love to give them insights into how women think and remind them, because it's a difficult time to be a man in some regards. So remind them that they're valuable too, and they're important, and they're being in their healthy masculine energy is so important, and that as women we really crave and love that. So I love when the guys turn up and show love to the podcast. I appreciate that. um
Absolutely. Hi, guys.
that's right. That's right. That's right, Bougie, and our brothers. So, but I love that. I love that you said that. And speaking of all of that and dating and guys and all of that stuff, I would love to hear some of the experiences that inspired the stories in the book. Are there any
Uh,
that you were willing to share? I know some of them are
sh-
probably crazy.
sure. I can definitely like read one of them if you'd like. Or I also, we were talking before, there's a set of rules that this character develops about dating apps in particular, and what is an automatic no as she's flipping through. So shall I share the list of the
You
rules?
know what? I would love that. You know why? Because when I started dating, like I had one date that I met out somewhere in LA, right? And then we had some dates and we were seeing each other for a bit. And then it didn't work out because he got too busy with his career. And I don't have time for people who can't manage life and career. Like I don't understand at this age, right?
Yep.
How do you not know how to do that?
I'm with
So
you on that.
but that was fine. We're still cool. But my friend, a relationship coach, who will be on Hot Topics Live next week, said to me, go on this dating app. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And she was like, try it out and like just have some experiences and create some good experiences dating and just talk to men and get used to it. Cause I'm usually like someone's wife, like usually, or someone's fiance or something serious and committed, you know?
Hmm.
So I had fun with it. I thought of it like an experiment, and I learned a lot from this experience. So I'm really excited. And I saw a lot of tragic things on there, by the way. So I'm really excited to hear this list.
Okay, I'll give you the list. I mean, I'll just say I've been on every dating app. I've tried them all. They claim to have certain differentiation. I've found them to mostly all be the same. I Bumble's the one that's kind of different because the women have to make the first move. So I think that creates a bit of a different kind of audience of guys who want to opt into that. I like to call Tinder the bar that everybody goes to. Like it's where all the numbers are, but you can kind of get a little slice of every part of life. But regardless of which app you're on, the profile photos, really, some of them are terrifying. So this is this is my list of that, or Austin's list that's in the book. That's in a chapter called The Internet Round 2. There's 3 chapters in the book that are called The Internet, rounds 1, 2, and 3. And they're all these little mini blog posts that she's writing about horrific dates that she's been on online. So this is the beginning of The Internet Round 2. And she says, I'm back, dear readers. The real life Parisian meet cutes just aren't happening. So I've reinstalled the evil dating app. As I head into round 2, I thought I would share my rules for how I try to weed out the undateable based on their profile pictures. I'm trying to make a science of this. Ignore at your own peril. Do not go out with guys who have any of the following. Number 1, multiple car selfies. This is clearly vanity run amok. Number 2, the in bed shot. One guess at what he's after. Number 3, the shirtless bathroom mirror selfie, especially when the bathroom is gross. Number 4, nothing but selfies. Does he have any friends? Also, see comment to rule number 1. Vanity run amok. Number 5, a hat and or sunglasses in every picture. Is he in witness protection? He's definitely hiding something. 6, smoking in any picture. Kissing a smoker is like kissing an ashtray. Am I right? Number 7, posing with his kid or kids in his first picture. Can we decide if we like the guy before we decide to like his progeny? Later photos with kids is okay. That's good disclosure. Number 8, posing with a tiger or a large cat of any kind. It is shocking how many of these exist. Number 9, posing with a woman who isn't clearly marked as his relative or best friend. Quite a few couples seem to be using dating apps to find threesomes. Is this a French thing or universal? Insights from my readers are welcome here. Number 10, the thoughtful pose with chin on fist. You know the one, cheeseball. Number 11, proposes meeting at the metro stop. No plan equals no date. For the sharp-eyed amongst you, you'll notice that rule number 11 has nothing to do with profile pictures and more to do with dating etiquette. This rule was put in place after Pierre the Mansplainer. Please refer back to the entry from March 5th and you'll understand why. I reserve the right to add additional rules to this list as my dating disasters continue. Your suggestions are welcome. Into the abyss I return with these rules as my guide. Pray for me.
Oh, brilliant. Those are great. So I hope that helps the guys out there to know what not to do, because honestly, I love you guys, but some of the stuff on your profile is just a no. Like I get it. Like I don't need to see every picture of you and your dog on a paddleboard. It's specific to where I live. On the Pacific.
We don't get a lot of that in Paris.
No, where I live, it's like a lot of hiking and stuff. You know what I mean? I want you to love your dog, but don't have him in every picture.
Fair.
And like, you know what I mean? And it's like, or holding up your fish. You know, it's like
fish out there too. I don't know.
So they're outdoorsy here, but like, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that I saw also that I thought, oh, somebody should help these guys. And I'm so glad that, because I know they're wonderful people. They just probably don't get the help really, you know, with how to set up their stuff.
Honestly, I think every guy who's on dating apps should ask a girlfriend friend to say, please review my account and tell me if I'm okay or if I'm doing something horribly wrong, because there's a lot of bad out there. There's a lot of bad.
There is a lot of bad. And so, okay, so which brings me to, you have lots of tales in Will There Be Wine? So what are some of those tales that, so, okay, let me ask this first. Are the stories in the book, I know they're based on your actual experiences, but how true, like how close are they? Give us the tea.
So I will admit that the 3 chapters called The Internet, rounds 1, round 2, round 3, they're all like 98% true. Like these things just happened almost word for word, and they're really quite incredible. So they're actually kind of why I started writing the book, because I was just like in shock by how ridiculous some of these things could be. The rest of the book, there's some other characters that she didn't meet online, many of which, but not all of which, are inspired by real people. I mean, I would say there's a decent amount of fiction, but the book is deeply inspired by real events.
Wow. Okay. So can you share some of the dating disasters?
Sure. I feel like I should do Pierre the Mansplainer just because I referred to him in the rules.
For sure.
So, you know, let's give him some credits. Ready? Here we go. Pierre the Mansplainer, part 1. Let me start by owning the fact that this story truly should not have 2 parts. It should have been a one and done, but I was having an off day and got blindsided. It happens, right? I met Pierre at 7 p.m. at Le Bombardier near the Sorbonne. I was already seated when he arrived, looking flustered. He said bonjour and then quickly told me that the zipper on his jacket was stuck. He couldn't get out of it and asked if I could help. Because I had tiny fingers, he said. The guy seriously asked, as his opening line, for me to help with his zipper. It wasn't his pants, but still. I took one look at the jacket zipper and knew it wasn't coming unstuck, so suggested he just slip it off over his head. I watched as he awkwardly wiggled himself out of the jacket, tossing it onto the chair and settling into our table. What a weird start. I ordered a glass of Bordeaux. He ordered tea. Who drinks tea at 7 p.m. on a date? In retrospect, I should have left immediately based on that choice alone. He then proceeded to rapid fire questions at me for 54 minutes. I clocked it. The questions were about my work, my studies, my family, my expat life in France. I never had the chance to ask him anything because I was apparently being interviewed for a job, the job of being his girlfriend. But it turns out it wasn't so much of an interview as it was a pre-screening. After these strange 54 minutes, he put some money on the table, quickly stood up and said, "Well, this has been fun. You're really interesting. I have a dinner to get to, but I'd like to see you again. How's Saturday?" Had my brain been firing at full speed, I could have, would have, should have simply said, "No merci," and put myself out of the impending misery. But as mentioned, I was having an off night. I uneasily agreed while he clumsily struggled to get his zipped up jacket back over his head. None of it was graceful. "Great, I'll text you," he said as he bolted out the door. I sat there stunned for a solid minute, wondering what the hell had just happened, and then resigned myself to part deux. Part 2. Saturday arrived, and Pierre suggested that we meet at the Grand Boulevard Metro. In my experience, meeting at a metro stop means the guy has no plan, so we inevitably spend the first 20 minutes of the date wandering around, usually on cobblestones, with me in heels, to find an acceptable spot. Between this and the less than auspicious part 1 of this encounter, I was not jazzed about the evening, but at this point, I was committed. I got on the metro, and while en route, he texted saying he was going to be 15 minutes late. It was raining, so I asked, always hopeful, if he had a place in mind. I suggested I could head directly there rather than waiting at the metro stop in the rain. I ended the text with a smiley face emoji because that softens it, right? He replied saying he didn't have a place in mind, but maybe he would only be 5 minutes late after all. Subtext, "You'll wait in the rain. Deal with it." Charmed, I'm sure. I huddled under the awning of the metro station until he arrived, and we emerged into the rain together. We wandered into 2 places that were fully booked before eventually landing in a small Italian restaurant that was completely devoid of charm. The fact is that on Saturday night in Paris, reservations are required for any place that's even remotely nice. I wasn't expecting a Michelin star, but I do appreciate it when someone takes the time to actually plan a date. Is that so much to ask? We were looking over the menu when he proclaimed, "They have ravioli, you know, the pasta, with stuff inside." There was an accompanying hand gesture to demonstrate the putting of stuff into the pasta pocket. Or was he pantomiming sex? I instinctively cocked my head to the side like a dog trying to understand its human. Did he really just mansplain ravioli to me? All this happened in French, of course, so I took an extra second or two to be sure I understood what was happening. When my brain confirmed that it was the disaster it seemed to be, it was too late for a snarky reply, so I simply went with, "Yeah, sure, ravioli." I somehow managed to keep my exaggerated eye roll on the inside. Suffice it to say that the conversation didn't improve, so by the time dinner was over, I was desperate to escape. I told him I'd take the metro home, and because he lived in the same direction, he said he'd join me. It was my lucky night. In the metro, he asked if I was a natural redhead. I told him I was not. He then mansplained, because you know, there are natural redheads in the world. Yes, dear readers, he mansplained ravioli and redheads in the course of 90 minutes and then asked if I wanted to go home with him. I did not.
Outstanding.
Well, so then after that, she makes the rule no more metro stop dates, but she breaks it a time or two and always regrets it.
I mean, we got to stick to our boundaries. That's the lesson. If you
Really?
don't stick to your boundaries, you are doomed to repeat that mistake over and over until it clicks and you